protecting family farms and ranches for over 130 years. Farmers Mutual of Nebraska understands the hard work and dedication of Midwest agriculture. Experience customized coverage backed by personalized service and unmatched financial strength.
in any class since 2009 when Meade did it in Class D1. We have Coach Ryan Menarick with us tonight. We have number 0, Trey Mooney, number 3, Cale Sheets, and number 42, Gavin Baker with us. Coach Menarick, if you would start with some general comments about the game, please.
Well, we got off to a great start. And we've been fortunate enough to be able to do that the last 2 games. We did that in our semifinal game against Summerland, but we just could not hold the lead. We had a really hard time guarding them in a man. We had a hard time keeping them in front. They got to the rim, and they really closed the lead. And doing that, they got Gavin into foul trouble. So, that first half, we were kind of on our heels. They had all the momentum. We went into the locker room, and we're pretty structured, offensively. I mean, we have our kids have freedom, to read the defense and to make plays, but we have structure. We went into the second half, and I just did not like the pace of the game. I didn't feel like we were getting the ball to the rim. I didn't feel like we were the aggressor. And so, the second half, we got in the locker room and we said, boys, we got to protect Gavin. To do that, we're going to get in a 2-3 zone. We have that in. We've run that a little bit, this year. But then we also said we've got to find a way to get some pressure and extend out in the full court and get ourselves going. So we said, how about we run a 2-2-1 back to a 2-3? And we have not run that all year. We have not run it. We've run it in practice a couple times. But we said, let's give it a shot, Keep the ball out of the middle, try to get a trap on the sideline, rebound, and let's push the ball hard. And on offense, we just basically said, attack the rim, space it out. Gavin, you can go to the block, you can go to the high post, but let's start playing. Let's get here in the third quarter, and let's start being the aggressor. Trey kind of set the tone in the third quarter with that for us. He got downhill. He got by his guy. He created some space. He got himself some open shots, and then all of a sudden our guys were getting into the lane. We were getting into the middle, and I felt like that just fueled us. It just fueled us defensively. Then we started to get more aggressive. We started to get some sideline traps. Gavin Dean got really long and active and got some tips, but I tell you what, they're hard to guard. They're so long. They're so big. The thing that we struggled with in that zone, in any zone that you play, you're going to struggle rebounding the basketball. But we did just enough to be able to get ourselves going on a run. At the end of the game, we made it a little more interesting, boys, than we needed to, I thought. My hair is a little bit more grayer than when I showed up here, I think. But we found a way to win. Trey hit some free throws. Trey he runs the show. He runs the show. He stirs the pot for all these guys. He gets them in their spaces, gets them in the places that they need to be, and he really, really shined in that second half. Gavin, we came down to the state tournament, and Gavin was no secret. We got away with some games, I thought, in sub-districts and districts and towards the end of the season where people really didn't know what Gavin can do, and they did their homework, and we got here, and everybody we played was so tough on Gavin. But the great thing, Gavin was held under his scoring average, I think, in all 3 games, but he found a way to impact the game in other ways. You know, he was over 15, 16 rebounds. I don't know how many he had here today, but blocking shots, changing shots. He's an X factor. He's a difference maker for us. Cale Sheets showed up this weekend, and there was not a guy on this team that was more motivated and more confident than him. And Cale's been a little bit, I would say, getting into the district tournament. He went through some ups and downs shooting the basketball. He was ready to go, the state tournament, and it didn't fall for him tonight, but he contributed in other ways. And so I'm proud of all three of these guys. It was an amazing accomplishment. I mean, we're a team with 9 losses. We're a team with, no seniors. And I think after every loss, after every single one of those 9 losses, we found a way to learn something, And as a coach, you win some of those ugly games, those ones that are ugly that you squeak by, and you just kind of put it in your back pocket and you move forward. Well, the games that we lost really hurt, and I think we learned some things from each one of those games. We learned more from a loss than just squeaking by and finding a way to win by 1 or 2 points. So, but really proud of this group. Amazing thing that they did, and they all had big roles on the team. So,
Questions? Mike?
Trey, as young as this team was going into this season, did you feel like the team had what it took to win a state championship?
If I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't know if we'd be down in the state tournament. I knew we had the potential to be a good contender, and we've all played together for many years, and I knew we had a good group of guys coming in, and I figured in the next couple of years we'd build on this year and go into next year and my senior year, and that's when we would get down here. But just being down here, it was amazing.
How about coming back from the sub-district loss? And then winning the district title.
Yeah,
Is that a big regrouping?
Yeah, I think that sub-district loss fueled all of us. We kind of knew if we were going to lose one, that was going to be the one that we would give up. And losing that one, I think we were like, all right, this is the one we got. Now it's time to go. And getting that Norfolk Catholic game, all of us just knew we can win this game and let's get into the state tournament. And once we got here.
Well, if I can speak on that, I mean, we lost a sub-district game. And these guys put themselves in a position to get to a 10 seed to get to a district final and losing a sub-district game. And I don't know what our record was at the point, but we got to our conference schedule where it was, I believe, Lincoln Lutheran, SCOTUS, Concordia, Boys Town, Concordia again, Newman, and it was a grind. And we go through that every year, but there's teams that have been through that grind and have come out of it broken. It's a hard stretch. This group got better. That first Lincoln Lutheran game, we knew what we were getting into, and we guarded them for a half, man. And we were undersized, outbodied, but we hung in there. We just could not get shots to fall that first half of Lincoln Lutheran. Then we go the next night, we go to SCOTUS, and same thing. We guarded. We kept them in front. We were tough. We were physical. We just could not get any shots to fall. And so then after those 2 games, I was like, man, we are onto something. I mean, we got, no offense, guys, but we were a lot smaller than some of those teams we played. And we got through, the stretch of those 2 games, and we just kind of came up with the motto, hey, make a 2, miss a 2, get back and guard. Make a 3, miss a 3, get back and guard. Get to the free throw line, get back and guard. Turn it over, just get back and guard. And so we've kind of hung our hat on that and just being tough. And we figured that if we would do that over the course of that conference tournament, that conference schedule, that the shots would start to fall because we were getting good shots. We weren't turning the ball over. We just weren't getting anything to fall. And so when we started to have that mentality of getting back and guarding and hanging our hat on playing defense and rebounding and getting into guys' legs when we rebound, our offense started to come around. And so that's what got us here, right, man? I mean, that absolutely is what got us here. Just really understanding that for us to compete with those high-level teams that we have to see every night in our conference, we had to get tougher. We had to get better at guarding and rebounding, and the offense just came with it.
For the players, you guys are all teammates on other teams within Bergen. how valuable is that kind of experience coming together now on a basketball court? Because I would argue for most of you, basketball isn't your top sport, and now you're state champions in it.
Well, I mean, for me at least, it kind of helps us to form a bond, like a deeper bond with them, because we get to play not just basketball, but like track and football. We get to play all those together. So it just helps us build a more teammate bond together, and it almost becomes like a family because we do everything together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our chemistry, we've played with each other since middle school, elementary school together in the Little League games, and then we just bring it over here, and it's just no different. I'm playing with these two next to me during the football season. I'm with him during track. He's with other basketball guys during golf season, and then we're all together doing D-League and other stuff in the summer. So really, we're together 365.
Yeah, I think it's just this moment today and just this season is gonna help us build into the next season and years after this. Just confidence and playing together is just gonna keep getting better.
Mike?
For any of the players, how much did you guys embrace the underdog role as the number 8 seed coming in here?
Yeah, so actually, the week of our district final game, we actually had Nate Graver actually give us an underdog speech every day at practice about some underdog team through history of basketball. And we really we're writing our own is what we always be like. We're always like, we're writing our own underdog story today. And then we got there to Norfolk Catholic, we wrote that one, and then we said more after that once we figured out we were going to state.
By the way, we will put Nate Graver as a sports historian against any other sports historian out there. Nobody knows more than him. And he's right, we did get an underdog story every day. When we got here to the state tournament, we rode on that roller coaster of being the underdog. But once, and we had some things fall in our place against Freeman, and it could have went either way. But once we got through that game, these guys didn't feel like the underdog. That feeling was over. And it might have still been out there. I think people were still probably talking, 8 seed hasn't been done in 16 years, or I can't remember how many years, Stu. But
Yeah.
As far as internally in the locker room, there was no sense of being the underdog. I think these guys, I know these guys felt like they were the favorite in these last 2 games.
How valuable was it having Grant on the bench as a player from the last state title team, kind of helping guide both the players and the coaches what it's like to go through a state tournament run?
Yeah, absolutely. He was very valuable, and he did communicate with the kids and talk to the kids. And a number of those guys that were on that state tournament reached out to these guys during the week. But, there's things even that, as a player that Grant told me, he's like, Coach, we got to get him under the basket. We got to get him to look up under the lights, see the lights. It's different, so he's been there, he's played in it. And, Grant does a tremendous job for us.
What did you learn from your 2019 experience coaching?
What did I learn? Gosh, I can't remember the words. But we wanted to be calm and composed, and I told my coaches that. I said, we need to be the ones that have composure, be calm, the lights are bright down here. And, we kind of communicated that with the kids. We talked a lot about this, Stu, when we started getting into this run and we got down to Lincoln. I got a couple text messages from family, from friends, from other players, from some coaches, and the majority of them said something towards the end of like, this is going to be great for these guys in upcoming seasons. This is going to be great for them in the future. And if I'm hearing that, then I know these guys are hearing the same thing. And we all know that tomorrow's never guaranteed. Tomorrow's never promised. Life lesson. Tomorrow's never promised to any of us. And so we walked into that first practice and just told the kids, there's no guarantee we're going to be down here next year, and there's not. There's not. I mean, we would love to be. We're going to put the work in that we have to, but there's no guarantee. You don't know what's going to happen. So our message is now is our time. Our time is now. It's not next year. Our time is now. And so that's what we kind of rode. That's kind of the quote that we wrote in with this year.
Randy?
This weekend, I mean.
Okay, congratulations once again, Archbishop Bergen Knights, Class C2 state champions.
Thank you.
These are ours?
Yep,
All right.
towels.
Towels?
Oh, we get time.